it's more frequent than not that people will hand me drinks even though they know I don't drink, and
So you didn't mention kind of a traditional YA for kids. Like, talk to me about that.
I personally invite people to my events.
How's it going, everybody? This is Elevation with Chris Orm, where we talk to individuals who have climbed the ladder of success. Today, I am very excited for my special guest. His name is Alex Skerlich, and Alex Skerlich has been a friend for me for the past decade. And Alex Skerlich is definitely your example of what a textbook friend should be like. He's an excellent friend. However, he doesn't fit the mold for a textbook character, as he's lived a rather unconventional life and paves the way for himself by his own rules. I'm very excited to have this conversation today with my longtime friend, Alex Skerlich. And with that, I welcome Alex Skerlich to the podcast. Thank you for being here, Alex.
Thank you for having me, Chris.
Hell yeah, bro. So we were just getting fired up before the show, but I was telling everybody that you've been a friend of mine for the last decade. So we met back in high school at Bishop Gorman High School, correct?
Yeah, man. I think it's been a little bit more than a decade at this point.
Honestly. So we probably met freshman year of high school at Bishop Gorman, right? And We're the class of 2015 at Bishop Gorman. And we met through a mutual friend, Colin McGoy, correct?
Yes, sir.
So shout out to Colin. If you're watching this, big shout out to you for introducing me and Alex. We continue to remain friends, but we used to get into some trouble in our high school days, to say the least.
Yes, I agree. We did get in a little bit of trouble here and there.
Some late nights, some questionable activities, but nonetheless, we made it through. We persevered.
As we do.
Sometimes we got ourselves into a little bit too much trouble. I speak for myself, but we're not going to get into too much detail on that. But Alex Skerlich has been with me the entire way through, so I welcome him here today. And let's go ahead and get this off by our non-official sponsor, Celsius. Cheers to that. Thank you for coming, Alex. So we got the tropical vibe Celsius today. And Alex, really, I just want to have a conversation with you about kind of where you've come from, what path you've taken to get here, basically who you are. And what I really respect and admire about you is how you kind of pave your own way in life and you make your own path. And I think that's really cool. And to call you a friend and an inspiration, I mean, comes from the bottom of my heart. So it's really cool. And I think you're going to have a lot of interesting things to share with the people about what it takes to be an entrepreneur and managing other people and making money off that and growing kind of a social media following based on your entertainment job. So for those who don't know, Alex he's the owner of Rage and Recover Entertainment. Rage.
Yes, Rage and Recover Entertainment.
Yep. Okay. So you basically throw EDM style events, large and small, at different venues around Las Vegas as well as outside of Vegas?
Yeah, we've done a few in Southern California, out in the desert, renegade style. We do all kinds of events from corporate to EDM events. But Rage and Recover is a collective of artists. It is an agency. I get to have the pleasure and opportunity to manage incredible DJ producers from Las Vegas to Reno to Los Angeles. It's been a pleasure to work with these talented individuals. I also DJ and produce music myself. It comes second to the business, but it is a passion of mine that falls hand in hand with the business itself. And the last 4 years have been constant grind. So that's what I've been working on. It's been really fun, but also very taxing, There's a lot more to it than just partying. It is a party, and you're constantly surrounded with the club life and the music and the lights and everything that comes with that. But if you do it right, that's not the focal point. You're working on the brand. You're working on the vision, and the mission comes first. Everything else comes second too. And I feel like I'm on the right path now. So
for sure.
Yeah.
So it's real interesting. When I was working at Lex nightclub in Reno, I learned kind of the other side of the nightclub industry. So it sounds like you're working on that other side of the nightclub industry rather than partying every weekend. You're kind of throwing the party every week.
Yeah. the aftermath of the party is cleaning up and packing up the equipment, and frequently I'm the first one in and I'm the last one out, and that means wrapping cables up at 5 o'clock in the morning, getting home when the sun's coming up,
Absolutely.
going to sleep and sleeping the first half of the day. But even so, I probably sleep and get up and have a full day the following day, because I don't really party, quote unquote. I've been on this sober life for some time now, and it's honestly impacted the growth of everything at an exponential rate, because I'm no longer focused on consuming the party. I'm throwing the party. So
Correct. So, I mean, lots of good information to unpack there. So you talk about being sober. So you and I both have that in common, that you and I both don't drink alcohol. And I think we can both agree and credit that to a lot of our success, that we don't chase that distraction that essentially when we're throwing the party, that a lot of people are going to escape through alcohol or other vices. And being kind of above that definitely helps you focus and move ahead. I think we can both agree with that, especially when you're in the party lifestyle. Like, I respect your decision to not drink even more because you're around it, and I choose to not be surrounded by that for an extended period of time because I do get tempted, and I'm sure that your temptation level and your adversity to temptation has increased by surrounding yourself in these difficult situations, because I'm sure all the time people want to take a shot with you.
Yeah. It's more frequent than not that people will hand me drinks even though they know I don't drink, and it's not that it's a malicious act or anything. I don't think people are necessarily testing me per se, but I think that it's just absent-minded, and especially when you are drinking, it's casual and it's habitual to offer someone else a beverage, and you think your counterparts in the club life are also drinking if you are. I don't judge by any means. It's part of how I make money. People drink in the club and I get a percentage of the revenue from alcohol sales. And, I also don't push it. I am not, trying to get people to drink, but if people drink at one of my events, it does benefit me. So I'm not opposed to it either.
So I would even say that alcohol is a rite of passage for people in high school and growing up as young men and young women, is to go to a party and drink.
Yeah.
So I would say that we kind of linked up regarding that path in high school. Like, we were definitely partiers.
For sure.
Right? So we would do some degenerate activities throughout the weekends. But what I find interesting about this friendship is that we've always brought it back, right? This friendship has been more than just partying, right? A lot of people can't say that they keep up with the friends that they used to party with in high school, but we've both grown up from the partying scene, and I think we can both understand and look at each other and reflect on that and see the growth and are both in our different sets of industries, but to find our common ground still, is really inspiring. And I think that Alex Skerlich is badass when he throws his events and he chooses not to partake in the partying. For you guys, ladies and gentlemen, if you've never been to an event, you got to check out one of his events. But I've been to some of his events. He's got the whole fucking camera crew going on. He's got the whole shebang. Like, these are well-produced events, sound, excellent venues. Like, this is not a joke. Talk to us about how you've gotten to that position. Like, I want to know how you went from ground zero to where no one knew who you were to having events that people show up to and pay money for.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'd have to kind of back up to, my inspirations to get involved in the first place. And I'd have to attribute a lot of my introduction into the nightlife and the music industry, entertainment industry, to my oldest brother, Gus. He goes by Gus Dammit. He's a music producer and DJ as well. He actually got involved in the music scene. I mean, we're all musicians. We grew up playing various instruments, but he got involved in the DJing and production life, like 2010 era. and I was just a child at that point, and just looking up to him, going to all these events, going to these different venues. He had a residency at Planet Hollywood, and he was DJing multiple nights a week, and I always admired that and looked up to him. And also, I wanted to add to his success in any way I could, even though I couldn't physically be there to support him and attend his events. I would, try to promote him online, social media wise, whatever ways I could. I would, support him morally, and I would push him, and I'd listen to his music, and, until I was old enough to kind of understand and attend some of these things myself, I just had an outsider's perspective. But as I went to college, he moved to Los Angeles and pursued music production. And so while I was going to school for a more conventional pathway at that time, he was pursuing the music, and I was staying, very in line with what he was learning, and just observing and learning from him, and utilizing his network and the people that he was integrated with in Los Angeles to my advantage, because I also wanted to learn, and I wanted to, tap into what he had going on. And it wasn't until one of his coworkers in LA asked me to be his manager, and I had very, very limited, experience in the music industry at all, where it kind of shook my ground a little bit, because I was like, why would you ask me to be your manager? Like, you don't see any, previous success in this for me. Like, what do you see in me? And he just saw my work ethic, and he saw my drive, and he was like, I think that you'll be great for this. And it inspired me to learn everything I could about the music industry so that I could fulfill that role to my best ability. And once he gave me that opportunity, I took it upon myself to expand my reach to the other artists that I knew that were my friends. And, I decided to extend these managerial duties to the people who I deemed as friends to me, that were in the music scene, that needed help pushing their brand, needed guidance, needed, a little extra support. And I would offer these services for free because, I didn't have any experience. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was willing to learn, and I was willing to put my energy into power. And, it's only come back in lump sums over the years, because when you do things from good intention and with that forward thought in mind, only good things come, and it didn't necessarily come in financial gain for, some time. It took years and years before I saw any dollars come into my pocket.
So you would essentially work for free and operate at a loss in exchange for getting ahead and learning the game.
100%. I think that it's almost necessary in any industry to learn and to put yourself in a position to make money. You have to be involved. Well, at least for me, I learn from experience and hands-on. I can read 100 books on something, but the second I throw myself into it, that's when I'll really comprehend and understand what's going on.
And I feel like you hit it I feel like you're always on the offense, and I feel like you're not afraid to take risks, definitely more than I am. You'll take the risk, and you won't even look back at it. You'll put everything into what you're trying to do, and that's impressive to me.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's you have to, if you want to succeed, you have to go balls to the wall. You have to see your target and run at it. I mean, the only other option is, taking the easy path. And I don't know, I've never been the one to take the path that is most traveled on. I'm always looking for the avenue to get to my goal in the best and most effective way. The least resistance is also like a massive, factor for me. I don't want to feel pressure against me. If I feel a lot of pressure, that means the way I see it is it's the universe telling me, there's another way. And so I don't always, steer away from the pressure, but if it's giving me resistance time and time again, I will seek out another avenue.
So talk to me, you're talking about pressure now and kind of like what that means to you. And you mentioned what your goals are. I want to know what your ideal version of life is, right? Life is a game to some regard, and I want to know what your mindset is towards your ideal vision. Like, what do you want out of life? What's the 10.0 version of Alex? Where do you see yourself, and what do you want to get out of life in the highest form?
That is a great question. So I envision what my ideal life is very frequently, and I think about, the vision board and, putting things into a visual display for myself to walk into. My ideal 10.0 version of Alex is wealthy, financially. One definition of wealth, but I want to be a community leader. I want to push people forward. I want to inspire people. I want to have the things that, make me happy. Toys. I like automobiles. I like going fast. I am somewhat of an adrenaline junkie, I would say. I like motorcycles. I like jet skis, boats, cars. Those are things that, I do like. They're not the make or break, but they're definitely something I see in my future. I want to have a sustainable music festival annually that brings people in together in a communal experience that allows people to escape their regular lifestyle. And I want people to feel safe around me and my community and my people. I want to have a large plot of land in the boonies somewhere with my own off-grid resources, with running water and livestock. And I want to break free from the city life. I foresee that being something that happens in my 10-year plan. But, we kind of have to go through the workflow to get to a point where that is feasible long term, because detachment from the big city is it's not an easy thing, especially when that's what I know. I was born in Las Vegas. I have Las Vegas in my blood, and that's good and bad. But I see myself detaching from the Vegas scene eventually.
Why?
It seems to breed toxicity in some elements of life, and
For sure.
I love Vegas. Like, I'm a Vegas boy,
Me too. Totally. I relate to everything you're saying about Las Vegas.
Yeah, but there's a lot of money to be made here. There's a lot of opportunity. There's good people here. There's family ties, generational family ties in Las Vegas, and it's a much smaller, big city than people give it, credit for. Because I think a lot of people from the outside see Vegas and the big lights and the skyscrapers and hotels and casinos, and it's like, it's this big thing, but everyone knows everyone here. And especially if you've been here, if you've been rooted here, you get to see it. I know quite a few of the business owners and the staple building blocks of, the construction industry and the casino industry and these industries that fuel the Vegas economy. And we have a 1 degree difference with these, massive celebrities and stars that are coming into town for shows and all these things. And it's, you know, there's good that comes with it, but then there's like the negative undertones, you know, wherever there's light, there are people that are seeking to take and take and take, and there's negativity that is breeded in like the shadows, and that comes with having large light. There's big shadows cast, so people hide in them. There's a lot of snakes in this little concrete jungle we live in.
For sure. I think Las Vegas kind of breeds some snake opportunities. So follow-up question to your ideal future. So you didn't mention kind of a traditional wife or kids. Like, talk to me about that.
I think I got a little sidetracked, you know. I do see that in my future. I like the idea of having a wife and children. I want a legacy. I want to leave a legacy. But I first want to establish something to leave a legacy behind for, you know. I do feel successful in my ventures, but there's a lot more that goes into it, and a lot more goals that I have not yet met, where a child that I bring into this world, it wouldn't be responsible for me right now, because my time is not, I cannot allocate time to raising a child currently. And so that would be down the road for me.
And not to interrupt, but anyone can have a child, but to have them be a prosperous, better than you version to society is what you're talking about.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
you can have a child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had a kid, like,
So be it.
next year, like, I will do everything in my power to make sure that child is raised as best
It's just
as
not
possible.
time yet, folks.
It's just not time right now, and there's, you know, money to be made, and there are brands to build. And currently, I work with artists that I almost revere as my children. You know, I put them to that degree of importance in my life where I'm involved in their lives. You know, I am like there, I'm present, like I'm making opportunities for them. I'm actively communicating with them. I'm having experiences with them. They're my friends. They're my closest people. So at some degree, I have the kids already. It's just an infant today, right now. It just wouldn't be feasible for my long nights out and sleeping in the early morning, and it just wouldn't be responsible. But I do want that. That is something that I do want.
Nice. So in the future, Alex Skerlich wants kids and a family is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So I want to talk to you about kind of your habits and routine, especially in the kind of lifestyle that you live. So when you're throwing events is one thing. You kind of live kind of a hectic life. You mentioned that some days you're seeing the sun come up in the morning as well, but you have a lot of rock solid routines in terms of your well-being, breath routines, kind of putting healthy food into your body. Can you walk us through some of your daily habitual steps of your routine?
Yeah, absolutely. If I'm not, you know, sleeping the morning away, if I didn't have a long event the night before, I typically like to wake up early, before 7 a.m. every week, every day, you know, barring those Sundays or Saturday mornings where I had a long night prior. I wake up early. I like to meditate. I like to eat a nice, healthy, small, minimal breakfast. I like to drink a lot of water. I like to exercise, get fresh air, sunlight. I like to make sure that I'm taking care of my vessel. Currently, today, I am not in my best shape. I definitely have been on a hiatus healing from a car accident. I don't want to get into too much detail around that, but I was involved in an accident, and I'm still healing and recuperating from that, so I haven't been able to hit the gym as much as I have in the past historically, as you know. So I don't feel my tip-top shape, but I'm definitely, you know, still on top of my game in all the other elements. I like to take my breath work seriously, because it has a massive effect on every other bodily function. And there's a lot of healing that comes with breathing. And that was one of our core recover elements early on, working with breath work and mindful meditation and even yoga. But those are some of the parts of recover that, bleed through into the lifestyle of rage and recover. It's not just like a party collective. It's not just like artists. It's like we're a community of people that we live by the rage and recover lifestyle. Like we do supply the parties, and we're constantly playing loud music and keeping the energy flowing. But part of keeping the energy high is also embracing the aftermath of the party and acknowledging yourself and being true to your vessel. You can't just run it into the ground. You have to have the balance. The rage and recover is the balancing act. It's like the yin and the yang. So to overdo one is, throwing everything out of balance, and that's not sustainable long term.
I've never heard you explain it like that, but I think that's absolutely spot on, that you do have the yin and the yang to that. Some people can handle it better than others. Some people choose to do that. And to be honest, all of your events I would love to go to, but they're past my bedtime, which is unfortunate. But I think you nail it just spot on, the yin and the yang of rage, party hard, and then recover, kind of the aftermath, the cleanup, the taking care of yourself. In an ideal world, what's the rage to recover, ratio?
In an ideal world, we do, we've done this in the past with our renegade parties.
What's a renegade party?
It's a non-conventional, it's not a club party. It's not a venue. It's, out in the desert. You have the speakers, you have the dirt between your teeth, and you got the vibes, the good people, and it's just about the experience. It's about bringing the people together. It's not all the shiny things and bottle service, and you don't have like the bottle girls bringing you flashy, sparkly champagne bottles and things, but it's the real grit, like the people who are there for the experience of getting to know one another and being out, without cell phone service. You're not there for the clout, the videos, the Snapchat, the Instagram stories. You're there for the experience. You're there for the music. You're there for the people, the community, the network,
Right.
and it's just, that's a completely different experience. It detaches you from the city life, and you still get to have fun and party and, listen to the music that you love, but it's a little different, takes you away from all the lights.
So I want the exact rage to recover protocol. Is it 5 days of rage to 2 days of recover, or is it vice versa?
Yeah, I guess as time has gone on, it's, gone back and forth a little bit, but for me, every day is recover. You have to wake up with the intention of taking care of yourself, because the rage, especially the older we get, it takes a much larger toll on you. So 1 day of rage a week and 6 days of recover, that's a good ratio in my opinion today. When this all started, it was mostly rage. Every day was a party, and the recover came second to everything, and it was still prevalent, but it was less a priority. Now it's, my more so priority over the rage element. Although when we rage hard, and the music that we put on and how loud we play it on the sound systems we use is like, you would understand. You've seen it.
I have seen it. But one thing I like about what you and your company, your people are doing is that it's not only that like hardcore rage, which, you know, some people may even be offended by, but you also are doing some recover elements within your brand itself, some type of like retreats, some type of yoga, breath work, things like that, like as well as some charity, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, definitely.
Talk us through that.
We've done a lot of like clothing drives and food drives in the winter months, typically around Thanksgiving and Christmas. The clothing drives for the homeless in the city. As we know, there is an overwhelming homeless population in the southwest region of the United States, LA, Vegas, especially because of the weather. It provides, a good climate for these people to congregate. And, it's hard. It's hard seeing these people out here in the streets, and especially like I feel like I come from privilege. I definitely not. It hasn't always been easy for me, but I definitely have a more privileged outtake on life than probably the majority of people, and I acknowledge that, and I try to utilize that to help people around me because I don't want to be successful just for me. Otherwise, I'd be in a completely different industry. Like, I can go make a bag in the tech industry any day. I have the ins and outs, and, that doesn't fulfill me. Like, fulfilling me takes bringing people together in community. And sometimes, we got to give back to the city, the people that are here that support us, like, it's crazy to me because even like the local scene, the underground music collectives and things, like some of these kids, like they'll spend their last $10 on a ticket to go to one of these events,
Mm-hmm.
because they want to. They want to go see their people and be a part of it. And like I appreciate that so much, because it helps my business continue. It helps me be able to keep pushing on. But we try to give back, those food drives, clothing drives in the wintertime for sure. But also, yeah, those retreat style events, those are really important to me. There's a large community of people who are in the healing experience. I have some really good friends here in Las Vegas that incorporate their brands with mine, and we've collabed on events where I'll provide certain elements to give their event that extra oomph, give them some sound or some decorations, or just add to their experience where they can provide these guided meditations and these experiences where they're changing people's lives. It's almost like therapeutic to attend these events because you're not only doing it for self, you're doing it with others for self, and there's a lot of power in that. It's beauty in bringing the people together to heal and to grow together. Because like I said before, Vegas is an interesting place, but I think that there is a consciousness community in town that takes all of the healing elements very seriously.
So I like that you call it a conscious community. I haven't heard of that term before, but I know exactly what you mean. I think people that read Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now, like these people that are true about their mindfulness and all that, like I think that is here, and I think it complements perhaps the entertainment industry, the healing industry, the events industry. So I think it's interesting that you mentioned that you are not necessarily doing it for the party, but to bring people together. Like, I want to know why you chose to bring people together, like through partying rather than another vessel.
That's another great question. The party, has always been part of me. Like we were talking about early, you brought up when we were teenagers, we got into a little bit of trouble. Maybe we were partying a little too hard here and there, but those experiences ultimately, inspired me to figure out ways to, bring people together. And maybe not all of those ones were, as mindful, but as teenagers, you're not really very mindful of everything, you're experiencing new things. And I was always fulfilled by the energy that was created when you brought attention together. And if you were capable of drawing the attention of a lot of people, you can feel that energy fill the room. You can feel that energy have an effect on the surrounding area, the environment. And I'm learning even today, every day, how to kind of flow energy into different directions and what that means. And you'll see people pay millions of dollars for advertisement spaces for, these games, these sporting events and big elements where people are seeking attention, It's a huge component. People are willing to spend their money on other people's attention. And there's a reason for that. Attention is probably one of the most valuable things that we can have in our society. And so, and not in just our society, like across the board. There's cultures that will, collect people for prayer, and you see a noticeable change in the world, like it will impact the environment. It will impact the world around where that attention is directed. And I think that when you start to get into like those fundamentals, you start to realize like, yeah, you can do it in, very many different ways. But the way that I see fit and things that I love, like I love music. Music has been a core part of my existence since I was born,
What do you love about music? It has to be the way it makes you feel.
Yeah, it has an effect on your physical body, and you can see that just naturally in the way that rhythms make people dance, but on a molecular level, the frequencies that we hear that, even that we don't hear, they impact us, they change us. And you can see that in somatics, like if you look at water on a dish, like a petri dish, mm-hmm. and you put a microscope on the water and you play frequencies, you can see how the water will adapt to the actual frequency of the sound, and our bodies, they do the same thing. Mm-hmm. So the sounds you listen to, they impact you. It's not just, oh, I like this song. It's like, it affects you.
For sure.
It changes you. So I think it's really important to create not only a party, it's an experience. It's an experience. It's a audio experience. It's a visual experience. It's pairing these things up, and then while also bringing good people together. It's something that you can only create through using those right intentions and platforms that you build. I don't want just anyone coming to my events. I don't want, people that are unconscious of what they do and how they impact their surroundings at these parties. I could, gladly turn people away because they don't fit the vibe, they don't fit the experience that we're trying to curate. And, it doesn't mean I'm actively like, no, you can't come. It's just like, if you're not ready, you're not ready, It's not your average party. It's like we're trying to create, like I keep reverting back to this, but a community of like-minded people that are conscious and that care for one another, because that's like the core values of what I'm trying to create. I want people that care for one another, and if you don't, goodbye. We don't need you. Thank you.
So it sounds like you're more or less creating a tribe of like-minded people.
Yeah, that's my whole objective and goal. The music and like the party, I guess, is a conduit. It's like it brings people in, but what we have, the message, the the meaning behind what we're doing is what keeps people coming back or staying, you know, and that's what's important, you know. You come and you go, and we love that, but the people that are, you know, meant to be a part of it, they stay, you know, and they live the lifestyle. It's really beautiful to watch, because as it continues, as it progresses and grows, you can see how strong the friendships become, and like it becomes, you know, we're family, you know, like these are my people.
How are most people introduced to Rage and Recover?
How are most people introduced to Rage and Recover?
Is it referral from a friend? A friend will bring me to their first event. I find y'all on social media.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of people, you know, bring their friends. I personally invite people to my events. I do social media marketing, and I think that, you know, that's important. I think that if that's all you're doing to get people to come to your events, you're missing a huge demographic of people that you can bring. I will attend as many events as possible, and I will go personally invite people, and I have a team of people that are on the ground at these events or outside of these events that are walking up to people and talking to them and inviting them, because I don't think that happens enough anymore. I think that is a method of bringing people in that has slowly diminished with the ease of social media. But I think it's super crucial and important to utilize those platforms, you know, these in-person, eye-to-eye, face-to-face, you know, I'm having a conversation with you as a person, I'm inviting you, and you're so much more likely to get those people to come to your events that way and want to stay there, you know, and support, not just, you know, some people don't want to spend, you know, 15, 20 bucks on a ticket to go to an event. It's like, oh, I don't know any of these artists, or oh, there's this other event going on. But like, if you get personally invited to something, the likelihood of you attending exponentially goes up. So
I like how you share something that's just so simple, but sounds like it has a high return on investment, that you just simply invite people in person. Like who would have thought that, you know, using your words and communicating face to face would have such an impact? But, you know, I 100% believe you. In the social media world we live in, like, I don't think people always use their words and talk in face to face anymore.
Right. Yeah. I see, you know, a lot of ads. You know, everybody has something to push, and it's all good. I'm no shade. I want people to promote their brands and their visions, and it's a great way to, you know, publicly announce things. But it's not the most effective way anymore. It was for a while. I think that, you know, when it was new, when personal, you know, social media profiles weren't so, you know, prevalent, like the influencer now is like, you know, they're more ad based than businesses, right? And so it's just interesting to see how things have changed just since, like, you know, 2010, you know, or like when social media was just like blooming, and you know, we were using like MySpace and Facebook, and now there's all these new platforms that are like, you know, taking over. You know, we have, you know, the old Twitter, now X. Is Instagram made their own platform, Threads, to combat or compete with. And it's funny, like, I don't even use that platform, and, you know, I could, and TikTok as well. I have a TikTok account for my business, but you won't see me like scrolling through and consuming. Like, I'd rather be out doing things that, you know, bring value to what I have going on.
I feel like you live life. Like, I feel like you get out of your house. I feel like you go meet people. I feel like you go to these events. Like, I feel like you enjoy building a community. I feel like that might be your life's purpose.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I feel like I have not an obligation, but my role in life is I know where I stand. I know what I like and what's good for me, and I'm not easily swayed off course. And I really, really enjoy inspiring others to, not fulfill my path, but to fulfill their own. And sometimes that means walking hand in hand and walking in the same direction and paying attention to the same things, because, the energy and the force that comes with, multiple people going for the same objective, same goal, it has a big impact, like who wants to go to a concert where there's one person in the crowd, the energy isn't all there. But when there's 100 people or 1,000 people, it's like, you might not even know who's playing, but like you feel the energy in the crowd alone, and you're like, oh, what's going on here? And so
for sure,
we know that like naturally, like we're crowd mentality, human, like that's our species is that way. And we gravitate to people that are like us. And like for the music world, for the EDM scene especially, it's not like any one race or religion or any ethnic group or anything. It's like people are there for the experience, for the music, for the people, and it's like it's different. I've never experienced that type of energy anywhere else.
People like I feel like music is a great place to find that group of people. If you're coming to a new town, like let's say you're moving from California to Vegas and you are into that type of music, finding people like Rage and Recover is a tremendous just opportunity to find not only friends, but people you can vibe with. Maybe you can find your future roommate, maybe your future husband or wife from it. So I can't wait to hear those kind of success stories.
Yeah. I mean, people from all over. I've had people come to our events from Montana, from Texas, from Colorado, California, easy. But when we have these analytics going on our ticket sales, like there's people that come from East Coast sometimes, and it's like that is wild to me, because what started out very local is now becoming a national thing, and regional for sure. We have these events in California and Arizona here and there, but what is baffling to me is that what was once such a small and like almost insignificant just idea has now spread into like a tangible reality that people have heard of. It's like recognized. The branding is great. It's a staple. I love our logo. I think it embodies what we have going on really well. Like I said, the yin and the yang, the double R, it's interchangeable. You have the logo can be rotated and it's still the same. And I really, really enjoy that, because, it's something that people can attach to and associate to, recognize, and feel comfortable with. And, the brand itself has a good association.
You got a lot of good people running with you too. I think that's the most exciting thing. It's like you talk about that you want to build a community, but I know a lot of people that run behind you and come to your events. So that's super awesome. I guess one thing I want to know is like, what are you working on now? What's next? What do you got going on?
Some things I can't necessarily mention just yet, but we have a few really cool, let's say, musical releases coming out. We have a couple collabs with our artists, some EPs. We had 2 singles from 2 artists released this past week, Teddy Rotten and Avi. Those are 2 of our acts at Rage and Recover.
Shout out to them.
Yeah, shout out to them. We have these events coming up. We do have a really, really cool corporate mix with the EDM event coming. I don't want to get into too much detail because, still in the planning phase, but
for sure.
We'll leave it there. We got some really fun things in the woodworks. One thing I will say, Texas Eclipse Festival, we have a Renegade stage in the campground. We're bringing the Hennessy's out there. We have an LED board. we're gonna run the entire campground at the Texas Eclipse Festival in April. And this is a once in every 30 years experience. People are gonna be really excited to be at this event, and we're supplying the stage for the campground, so the Renegade's ours.
Hell yeah. So my question is are you doing this, like, is this your everything you think about in life now? Is like music your life?
Yeah. Music is my life. It's definitely not my only thing that I have going on. I'm involved in quite a few different avenues. I actually just started another business with a friend of mine who I met through the music industry. Good friend of mine, his name is Tom. We just started a business called Burn, and we're in the process of delivering hemp to different marketplaces all over the nation. And one thing that has always inspired me is studying how other people have become successful. And one of the main points that I have read in many, many successful people's ventures is having multiple streams of income. And although the music is my passion, and it is my passion project, it's a love affair that I've had, and I just pour everything into it. But there are other ways that I expect to climb the totem pole of success, and another way to do so is through real estate. My family's been in the real estate game for a long time, and commercial and residential real estate are huge for me. That's definitely next on the list. I've been studying for years. I know how to get involved with the real estate business the way that previous interviewees have done it.
Yes, sir. Yes.
But that's another avenue that I intend on bringing into my success and my repertoire of what I do for my business, and a couple other things. But the music is first and foremost, and the brands that I manage currently are definitely the priority.
So it's safe to say that you, my friend, are a successful entrepreneur. So congratulations on that. I want to finish off the episode. I briefly, during the introduction, talked about what a wonderful friend you are. And I'm sure that comes from being, a wonderful man, a wonderful friend, a wonderful boyfriend, a wonderful son, things like that. So I want to know, obviously your parents have put something into you to help you become the person you are today. And I'm sure you kind of found your own way through that. I want to talk to you about being a man of good character, and I want to see if you have a set of core values or non-negotiables that you operate yourself in. And I don't want to put a number on it, but give me your top 3 or 5, whatever you want to tell us about.
Okay. Yeah, everyone needs to establish their terms. The things that are non-negotiable to them. That should be unique. There shouldn't be a blanket term that fits all people, because everyone has their own, desires and agendas and purposes. But for me, loyalty is huge. Integrity is another massive one. Loyalty, integrity, 3 top ones.
We can go with 2.
I want to just tap into these 2 first, and then I'll get to the third one. But loyalty for me is incredibly important because it falls hand in hand with the integrity, like to your word and to what you say you'll do. And if you say you're going to do something, you do it, and you make sure that it gets done to the best of your ability. And if it cannot be done, you communicate that. You don't let it go, weeks on end. You don't let it, fester in the other person. You bring it to their attention and you say, hey, I fucked up.
Yeah.
You own it. And there's something that can be, learned from that experience. And, loyalty and integrity for the group, for your community, for your family, for your people. Because at the end of the day, we are only as strong as our weakest link. And I like to make sure that my weakest links are taken care of and that they understand that they are also strong, so that they don't believe they're weak. So they follow through too. Because, those things, they represent not only them, but the people they're affiliated with. And so those are 2 of my most important values.
Hell yeah. And I think you embody those perfectly. And I think it's important for everyone to embody at least those 2 core values in their own way, in whatever wording they want to give it to, for their life, to help them be successful, because that's what this show is all about. It's like people that climb the ladder of success. And I think that at some level, your success in business is a representation of who you, like where you come from and who you present yourself to via your core values.
Yeah. I think, one of my, other values is, being true to my family, and like these all go hand in hand with one another. But my family, like without my family, I would not be where I am today. I wouldn't be educated like I am. I wouldn't have the opportunities that I have. And shit, I would sure as hell be on the streets, because there were times where, I poured every single cent that I had into what I was building. And sometimes you need to ask for help and lean on people, because we can't do it alone. Right. That's real. And I'm not ashamed to ask for help when I need it. And the reason I'm not ashamed of that is because I know that I will always lend a hand when I can. If it will not sink me, if it will not drown me, if it will not kill me to do so, I will always lend a hand to those who need it. And that's why I will never be shy or scared to ask for help, because we all need it. And it's a real thing, and community is so important. And that is one of the reasons why, because we wouldn't be here without each other.
For sure. And you've always come through for me. So whenever I've needed something from you, I can always count on you to come through with me to some regard. So I appreciate that in your friendship. And I think it comes from that you're willing to give more always than you're willing to take. But at the same time, you're willing to know when you need to ask for help.
For sure.
Cool, man. So for everyone watching here on the internet, this has been Elevation with Chris Oram. This is actually Alex Skerlich's first podcast. So everyone, let's blow up Alex Skerlich. Thank him for being on the show. I'm absolutely honored to have him on the show today. Dope friend, dope guy, great story. He's representing here Rage and Recover. So I'm sure, viewers of the show, I'm sure we can get hooked up in some regard for future events. I'm sure we would love to have some people come out to show our support for Alex and what he is putting out into the world. But Alex, dude, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show today. I think it's been a great show. I think we absolutely killed it. I think you gave a lot of insight to your mindset, where you come from, things that are important to you, what you're working on. And I think it's been a great show. So thanks for coming.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, man. This is great.
Cool, bro. Thank you.